How you doing? We got a Subaru. Today we got a WRX. Pretty friggin' cool. Super clean. Former client brought this one in. We're going to be doing 20% Pro Classic on all the sides and the rear. I was like iffy if I even wanted to go live here. We'll do the quarter windows obviously, but getting them done, I think the back ones will probably go fine. The front ones, it might take a couple of tries. So stay tuned for that. We're probably going to do all the doors and the back window and then do the quarter windows. Let me finish getting this thing up and running. Why is it I remember all the stream stuff after I start the stream? Things that I should have done before. That's okay. I can switch this over. I don't hear robots in my ears. There we go. Have you ever tinted Lexan windows? Yeah, and they'll blister up. So there's a product out there called Blister Free. It's expensive, but you need to put a different product over like Plexi and Lexan, from what I understand. Got this, you can take the panels off? I've actually never looked up how to take these panels off. I'd imagine it's pretty straightforward, yeah. I wouldn't fault anybody for doing that one. And here's my window. I'm so early. What's up, Jay? How you doing? Still waiting on a response on these. Think those come off the top? What do you mean? Can you just like pop the seals and then drag out the seals? Or is it more involved than that? Oh my God. Let's see. I would have to see the panel. All right. Here. So this is a 22 and up. Couple little screws. That little plastic bit comes out. Neat. I want to use plotter precuts because they're worse. No, I do for certain things. Back windows and quarter windows, so we'll probably use them on the quarter windows. On door windows, that's where they never line up quite as good. And it's not about speed here. It's about doing a good job. So, oh my God. I don't know what is up with these monitors. They like to just completely black out for like 5 seconds and they come right back. But that was so the whole thing comes off and that just pulls back then and then your door panel's off. That's fine. Yeah, and then we're going to get into the wiring, blah, 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 blah. Can you show me the window? And then he's going to put some... Oh, my God, they have Amazon Basics sound deadening? Oh, God, they got everything. Ew, and what is this? Oh, that's the glue for the plastic. Gotcha. Not super detailed after the door panel on the window. Naturally. But yeah, that was definitely a good insight. Dude, they just keep an eye on, I mean, they have all the sales data in the world. They just watch the products that sell good, and then they just start putting their stamp on everything. Pretty crazy. Yeah, you got to take the whole door off to get to that quarter window. Even then, I mean, it's a gasket style seal around it. I'm just gonna leave it in, and we'll just deal with it. I've got another trick that I'm gonna work with. Just push a couple of cards in there, and that'll free up some space. I've done them before. It's not that big of a deal. It's just funny how the quarter windows are likely going to take longer than the roll down windows. But really, in the grand scheme of problems, it's not a big deal. It's just how many attempts is it going to take to get them done right? We'll find out. I like things that I know I'm really confident are like a one-shot go. Oh, I didn't even plug that in, that's why. We're doing 20% Pro Classic. Okay, so that's on. Cut strips from old hard cards. Yeah, anything that'll basically just free up a little bit of space. I'll take a bunch of tri-edges and I'll put them in there. I have many. I have so many. Have you ran into issues tinting windshields with the Eyesight systems on the Subarus? No, because I don't. So this one actually has that same Eyesight system, and I didn't even realize it. I talked to the client over the phone. He didn't want to do the windshield anyways, but he might do it later. But I'm probably gonna. I'll tell him kind of what his options are. He didn't even want to go dark. So official word from Subaru is just don't touch them. They don't even want you to put like Rain-X or anything. So they're very protective about their Eyesight system. It's a camera system. So basically, the more that you screw up with the brightness of that camera, it's just not going to perform right. So there's certain conditions that it's just not going to work anyways. If it's like overly rainy or something like that, sometimes they'll shut themselves off, and they'll display a warning or something saying that they're not active right now. But I mean, at this point, they're probably better. But what I would say is I could tint it, but it's up to you on how much you value using that system. There's definitely things, when you're modifying stuff, there's definitely things that, could be affected, that camera in particular, and you can't really, just let the client know that, hey, if you want to go dark on this windshield, or if you want to get this windshield tinted, I just don't know how well that system then is going to work. Because you can't be held responsible for something like that. Like, you don't want to set yourself up that way. You don't want to tell somebody that, yeah, no problem, I can tint your windshield, and then, then they're having problems with their camera and they're wondering what's going on. That you just give them a polite heads up, like, this is a disclaimer on the card because of the way they designed it. That goes with any field, really. Sometimes you run into those things where it's just, there's no good workaround for it, and it is what it is. So I've actually seen a couple of pictures in my Facebook group about this. This camera I wouldn't even want to remove, and it kind of gets in the way. So you can't even really clean behind it super easily as, like, you know, if you're the owner of this car and you have some cloth, it's kind of hard to sneak it in between there. I wouldn't disassemble anything for that either, because again, Subaru, yeah, Subaru is, right? It was Subaru, right? They're really touchy about their systems. There was another car that borrowed a Subaru system, I think is what I'm getting confused with. But yeah, Subaru is really touchy about their systems. Something about safety, you know. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to tape these up. Probably no good reason to, but is the Accord like that too? I'd have to see it. I've tinted some Accords, and I don't think so. So ADAS systems are just going to be a requirement, and they're going to be on everything, but most companies have a cutout and usually bury the camera up inside the dot matrix. Subaru thought it'd be a good idea to put the camera, they used to have it higher up in the headliner, but they like this camera that kind of sits back off of the glass and shines through it. So, you know, if you want to cut around it, your cutout's probably going to be like this big. So there's no reason to do that. But it's still new territory, really. So everybody's kind of figuring out their systems and refining them. I like all the companies that just put them up in the dots, so that way, you know, there's already a cutout there. It's buried behind brackets and stuff. We don't have to worry about them. You just leave them. But stuff like this, not so much. Good day, get internet fixed. No, my internet's not going to be fixed for probably like another month or so. The tape is actually tuck tape. It's just blank tuck tape. So I got in contact with the company. This is just a sample, though. They only had a 3-inch wide roll on hand at the time, which is, they have a 2-inch wide red, but in white they only had 3. So that's excessive. But I like the white better than the red, just for the look. Yeah, 3 inches is kind of obnoxious. I actually did my first 22 WRX GeoShield after asking you the comparison with Avery, and it came out beautiful. Good. Glad you like it. How much for a roll? Too expensive. That's how much. I'm figuring that out right now. I'm going back and forth with them. Because the thing is, this is like a high-quality product made for a permanent application. It's actually not made for, like, it's not made for window tinters, just putting it on the car. But funny, when you're just small time trying to negotiate with big established company, you run into little hurdles. But they're nice people, so they're trying. I just might be too small fry to make it make sense for window tinting, but working on options here. For now, you can just order sheathing tape. There's that. Last little bit here. Cool. I tinted our Ascent, but didn't do the windshield. It has 2 large cameras, so I was wondering more advice on it. Is that Ascent? Is that a Subaru? Ascent. I actually don't know who makes that. Must be new, and I haven't seen it. Easier to see the edges with white tape? Yeah, that's why I really like it. So red is still fine, and you can still see it okay. White just, yeah, it stands out better. So if I bring something in, I want it to be white. Yeah, Ascent Subaru, okay. Yeah, so on that, you get the same issue. You have the dual camera Eyesight system. Yeah, that's the one that I'm more familiar with that I've seen. Because I think that was how it was when they first released it. This is the newer system that I've just seen recently. So most of what I'm saying is actually based off of that other system, but knowing that Subaru doesn't want you to do anything on a windshield is like, yeah, probably best to not guarantee anything. What tinters have basically said in their experience with putting film on cars that have that system is as long as you stay light, you should be fine. Just know that you don't have any car company's blessing in that. It's just, yeah, it is what it is. There's that. Headlights on. Let's shut those off. And let's get started. This is kind of yellow glass, too. Toyota and Subaru. All right. I need some 20. What's up here? That should do it. So being that this is a car with regular car-size windows, 36 will cover everything, split it in half, and then along with the back window. The only time I would use a 20-inch roll is just for convenience on the side windows and those quarter windows too. But to be honest, we're probably going to plotter cut those. Join the Facebook group, admin accept my... Well, I can't do it right now. Hopefully one of the mods gets it. The fan tips use less water, so it takes me way longer to run all the water through the line. It'll get there, though. Your post will get approved. We had to switch to that system, so what we do is we pre-approve people. So, nothing crazy. We don't want to have to go through and literally sift through every post every day. But we were getting a ton. We still do. We actually get it. The spam stopped for a little while, but we get an obnoxious amount of spam in the group that even goes to approval. So we just block those people so you guys never see it. We do a lot of work in the background. All right. So 36-inch roll, split in half. And then I'm going to see how this seal is. Cut off that bottom edge, get rid of some extra. That also goes for the overlap on this side because I just cut too wide. Then we're going to cut one side. Loosen my pattern back up. Make sure everything's square, and then shift it over. These side seals are pretty easy. The roll-down windows are like the easiest windows on this car. You were totally right on the Avery ceramic. Oh, it's not. Yeah, I've seen some posts and talked to some people. I mean, it's pretty bad when you're basically told by an actual Avery rep that it's not great. I wonder how a company even sells something like that. But yeah, we would get some really. We got a handful of posts even in the Facebook group saying they just paid $600-700 to get their car tinted in ceramic, and then people were like, "Whoa, that's ridiculous! What film did they use?" And he said, everyone was in shock, like, "Oh shit, yeah, that's bad." That's what's bugged me about films for a long time. It's like. So, as a window tinter, you're in it and you kind of know haziness is really associated with carbon and ceramic tint. And the better your films are, the less haze that you have. So, it's been an ever-improving thing. If you fix a little speck or crease, the glue just smears. Okay, that part doesn't make any sense to me either, because I'm really familiar with their NR and NR Pro, and those are fine. So like, what do they change about the glue that's going in their ceramic that's different? I don't know. That's kooky. But yeah, no good. But when a consumer is shopping around for window tint, like, clarity is something that's just a given, right? Like, I'm getting my windows tinted. If I'm paying more for it, it should do this and be clear. Not, oh, it does this thing well. There we go. It does this thing well, but it doesn't do this other thing well. So it's like to have to pick between clarity and performance is like a really weird thing. It should be every step up should have basically what the level before it has, with bonuses. It's really easy to understand. You know, I'm getting my windows tinted. So to teach people that there's more to window tint than even just make your windows darker still is quite a big thing for a lot of people. It'll be that way for a long time. So yeah, to have a company of that kind of scale release a product like that's just unreal to me. I mean, it's got to be working on some level, but I'd love to sit in on those meetings. But I'm a fan of their NR. Their NR was solid. I just bought some of those ultra thin blades from your site because I can find them anywhere, and damn, I almost feel like a professional now. Yeah, you know what's crazy is like they are super hard to find. Those thin blades are awesome. I gotta jump on them though. It's kind of funny. I basically bought out their stock because they're not, believe it or not, they're not a popular product. That's why nobody carries them. And now it's like one of those hidden gems that's like, oh shit, no, they're actually really, really good. And so I bought out their stock. But they're importing more. Like I said, I've done some digging. Did you mess up a window 3 times because of dirty water? Yeah, in a previous stream. They were doing, best I could figure is they were doing construction outside, and my water was shut down for a couple of hours. And then there was probably some shit in the lines that had to clear through. I still have filters on it though, but it only does so much. But that's as best as I could figure. It was pretty consistently random. So you put the tint on the driver's side, but the clear part wasn't facing you? What? No, okay, so I double cut. And I just flip, so for convenience, right now the tint part is facing me, but they're opposite. So I put on a piece of film on the door, normal, where the liner's facing me, and then I take another piece of film and I flip it. So then basically the liners are sandwiched together and then the film sides are facing on the outside. The reason I do it that way is because I was mobile for a long time. So then when I cut this window, it's ready to just pull apart, and I can take that pattern, go to the other door, and just drop it on there, set it up, and shrink it. Where if it's opposite, then I have to pull them apart and switch it around, and things just get clumsy. Okay, so a couple things. This was kind of a really interesting random discovery with all the bizarre crap that I do. So this knife is the same type of knife that is in the Black Magic kit. It's identical. They just take a chintzy plastic knife. But what I found is it's kind of awesome. See, this is that knife from that kit. Look at that. They're the same. They use a crappy blade. What I found is if you're cutting your top edge with a metal knife, It's still great. I've been doing it for a long time, but if you press a little too hard, you'll put a groove in the top of the film. So I'll use a metal knife on everything else because this red dot is the best tint knife. But pressing too hard will put a groove, and because the tint is facing me, I'll put that line right into the tint. So I found a plastic knife. You can put as much pressure as you want at that edge, and you're not going to put a groove. And why you want to put enough pressure is to just hold it right against the glass. So when you're cutting, that plastic is then holding the film right up against the edge. So when you're cutting, you get a nice clean edge. Now, where the difference in blade comes from, because you can still cut a beautiful edge with a stainless blade, what I noticed during the classes, I saw there were some different style NT blades around, and so I just picked up all of them. And then these ultra thin ones, I didn't know if they'd be any better or not. Turns out they're friggin' awesome. And I would hand this knife to some of my students that were having problems cutting a top edge. You know, it would hang up. They couldn't. It was jagged. The knife kept getting caught, and it was hard to describe it. And I would say, like, no, just push a little more blade out. Your blade's starting to get dull, this, that, and the other thing. And then I would just hand them this knife. And then I'm like, okay, try it now. And this blade made all the difference in making that cut. So that paired with a plastic blade makes cutting top edges way easier and also, I think, better. So I've been a big fan. The blades will dull out pretty quickly, though. They're carbon steel, but they're thin. So I'll snap them pretty regularly. That thin part of the blade, though, that makes all the difference. There's just less metal that can get snagged. So 313tint.com, I have the knives pre-outfitted with one of the blades if you just want to pick it up and try it out. And then I also have the blades available too. So we swap out, we sell the knives, swap out all the blades with the carbon steel ones. So if you want to just try it out, it's a cool thing to pick up. And then if you like the extra blades, they're for sale there too. Another stream. Yeah. Okay, so double cutting. So I just rounded the corners on the glass board. Again, when I was mobile, I just round them on the car. So I haven't separated them or anything, but one reason it's liner to liner is now I can literally just put it on the car door, separate it, take this, and then go over to the door, set this one on here, the other one's all set, and these are ready to shrink. It just shaves off a little bit of time. Every once in a while, I would squeegee the patterns together, grab my squeegee out of my belt, and there'd be a little piece of dirt or something, and if you put a line in it, it's going in the tint instead of the protective layer, so keep that in mind. But if everything goes right, shaves off a few seconds. Is doubling up tint to make it darker a bad thing? No, not at all. It's kind of at your own risk. It should be totally fine. A shop's not gonna know how to handle it, so some will refuse to tint it at all. Some will just tint straight over it and just offer no warranty, but yeah, if you wanna do it yourself too, that's totally fine. Most cases, you'll be totally fine. It's a good way to save a little bit of money on it. Doing a full removal and then getting the shade that you want is a lot of extra work. But the correct way to do it, because you know you're just putting new tint on it. But that makes it really expensive. or a lot of labor. You just want to tint it. So if the tint job on top is solid, then yeah, you should be fine. Would it be darker than 5%? If the shade that you're doing over it is darker, yeah. So 20 over 20 is going to be pretty much 5%. But, you know, if you do 5 over 5, then yeah, it'd be way dark. Look at tint. I guess look at tint like filters. So you have one filter and then you have another filter. And you're just combining both of them together. So going back to math class, to multiply, you'd multiply the percentages. So 100% to turn it into a decimal, you have to actually multiply by 100. So like 20% would be 0.20. So 0.20 times 0.20, that's 20% times 20%. Or you give divide by 100 or whatever. That math. So if you ever want to kind of figure out rough percentages, like 35 over 20%, take 0.35, multiply it by 0.20, and then there's your shade. For whatever reason, it like mostly works out to that way, but there's some times that I swear it just doesn't. I just remember like a Kia Soul. I had like a 35, the rear metered at like a 30, and the front glass metered at, no, the rear glass metered at like a 28. And it was like trying to decide, should I put 30 or 35 over it? I remember that was in a video. It's just like a vloggy type video that I posted a long time ago. My efficiency carts. Look at how efficient these are. This is what I do. This is what I do more often than not. All right. I'm too tall. Wee. All right, so seals are all taped. Everything's all ready to go. We're gonna do some prep. So I haven't prepped anything. So we're gonna go through all the prep here. So start with just a 1-inch razor blade. Keep that at a very low angle to the glass. That's gonna ensure you don't scratch up the glass. Not a sharp angle, a low angle. On a window like this, though, you're just keeping an eye out for stickers. It's so new that there shouldn't be much other than potential dealer stickers. And it looks really clean, so chances are it is really clean. But still, I'll either scrape it or I'll scrub it. Then, top edge, towel, and a clay bar. Just ordered a lot of blades. Oh, cool. Thanks, man. Then we're going to scrub the top of this, because even on a brand new car, we're pulling all that off of the top. So, scrubby, a towel. Never forget your top edges. I forgot them for a long time. I never thought there'd be anything on them. I would scrape the glass, I would tint the window, and then sometimes I would have random speckles, and I'm like, what the hell did I do wrong? Never forget the top edge. About to order some of the blades? Oh, cool. You guys are going to send Jack back to the post office. He's on the hunt. He's finding more of the Libman Squeegees. See, this is the thing. I don't need to carry Libman's whole product line. And I'm not like a big grocery store or anything. They just have a good squeegee. All right, let's put this on. Let's see how this went. Neat. Have you ever used Goo Gone to remove adhesive? No. I have not. I don't think it's very good on window tint adhesive. Window tint adhesive is a little picky. Old purple bubble tint, original Windex is kind of magical. But on most modern glues, it's not going to do the same. So on most glues, what I'll do is I'll run to the dollar store. I'll get a product called LA's Totally Awesome. And that will seep into the glue and kind of like loosen it up from the glass. It'll kind of be gunky. And then you'll take a scrub pad, a glass-safe scrub pad. And you'll be able to work the glue off of the glass without ruining your defroster lines. But you have to get the tint portion off first. So steam that part off, and then do the rest. Do the rest with LA's Totally Awesome. ATR if you order from tint suppliers. Sun Distributing. They have ATR. That's a really good adhesive remover. That one's made for window tint. What squeegee is that? Lemon squeegee. Can you show it again? Lemon? What's lemon? Can somebody... What the fuck is lemon? I don't have yellow. I have green. I don't know. We'll figure it out, though. Oh, the Libman. All right, I'll show the Libman. So the Libman's just an exterior, like, shower type squeegee. I've tried a bunch, and I just like that one the best. Every time I would see a competitor, I would buy it. Just like Exo, Clorox, I don't know, just like IKEA, like literally I have like an IKEA one sitting here that I thought might be great too. This one's terrible. Or maybe not terrible, but not as good. This one. This is the lemon squeegee. Yeah, nothing fancy, nothing special, but it just works really good. So it's all one molded piece. So you'll see when I scrub off the back window, I'll use this to squeegee all the rest of that off, and it just forms really nicely. You can also use your handled squeegee. It's just your handled squeegee, you're making a lot more passes. So this just gives you far more reach. So you take like 3 or 4 swipes on a back window versus like 1,000. Do you think those blades would be good for top edge shaving? It'd be worth a try. I'm not great at that, though. So the direction that I've gone is finding a best blade to get the tint so close to the top edge where you don't feel like you need to shave it. Yep, Liebman's a big brand. You can find them Walmart, Menards, Meijer. So, like, you can find them, but you have to do, I've had to do a little bit of hunting, so I put them up on the store because I get asked about them a lot. And so 313tint.com, I'm gearing that up to have basically everything that you see me use is going to have, it's going to be available on that site as well because it's just real hard otherwise. Got to send people like 600 different places to find stuff. Best 99 cents. What's at the 90? Do they have those types of, I mean, like the big squeegees at like the dollar store? All right, so I suppose we should do one of these quarter windows, huh? Nice. This looks good. I'm happy with it. 20. Do we need to use a big roll or do we need to use a little roll? I'm pretty sure Pro Classic 35, 35, 35, 555. Huh. Well, if there's going to be one empty roll, all we have here is $1.25 tree here now. All right, I guess I'm going to do this one. I go back and forth. I was going to tint the roll downs, but because I've got the thing in the way, or the door covered, I might as well tint that quarter window while it's open. $75 grams. We need to take that way down. It's going to be probably 45 grams if I had to guess. We'll give that a go. How's your level of contamination? It's pretty low. Film cut. You aren't using the Lowe's tuck tape. What's funny about that is that's two different brands. Subaru WRX. Will the Pro Classic ever fade? It's possible, but it's highly unlikely. And if in the event it does fade, it's all covered under warranty. I would be unhappy, and everybody else would be unhappy too. Except the customer. Customer would get it retinted for free. What do you think? 53 grams? I don't know. So all right, I'll bump it up just a little bit. We'll put it at 51, and then we'll see what happens. I switched the blade out. I do a ton of those cars. I use glass sticks and water solution, pry open the gasket for a few minutes. Smart. Yep, I like that. That reminds me, actually. I've done this before. I just often forget to do this. But yeah, I'm taking, thanks for that. Yeah, I've done this before with Subarus where you take like tri-edges or, you know, whatever plastic tools that you have and you just wedge them in there. I got a whole bunch of those. And I always misplace my price sticks. Get Workhorse t-shirts. I have Plotter Depot t-shirts. Ooh, this is good. I'm gonna say that was a good call. I'm bumping the pressure up a little bit to be on the safe side. See, I made a video on setting the plotter blade up when it was brand new, and it worked on the first cut, which was like great. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm done. And then my dumbass mixed up those blades. So I kept upping the pressure on my ceramic. Did you find them? Yep. Yeah? Yep. Oh, sweet. Cool. All right. We keep buying out local stores of Libman Squeegees. Would you believe it's actually really hard to source those? Bought some 7th gen soap to try out because the tint slime I'm trying doesn't slide well. Should I mix them or just use 7th gen in your opinion? 7th gen is decent. It's not quite there though, but it is decent. And what I ended up doing was like 3/4 baby shampoo and 1/4 7th gen, and now I've switched them, so it was like 3/4 7th gen and 1/4 baby shampoo. And it's still, to me, it's still not as good as putting baby shampoo and Dawn in there. I think it needs something different though. But I can't even get a clear answer about this stuff. I'm so frustrated. I hear GeoShield is working on their own, so. But that's not a fix for now. I told them they needed to do it. Because yeah, there's nothing out there that quite suits using this film. And that drives me a little crazy. .313 slip coming soon. Maybe someday out of just sheer frustration. Did you get the new Hero 11? Actually, no. So it's a bigger sensor, but it's the same thing, just a little taller for vertical video. So I opted out of that one. I saw they also announced the Mini. And I was like, ooh, Mini. No HDMI port, internal battery. I was like, oh, well, it's not good. Thank you. Somebody said they ordered some blades. So the other way to approach these two, so really, I just flush them out a bunch. And then just try and do the best I can. So we wedged it. Hopefully that created a little bit of space. The only thing that I'm really crossing my fingers for is that it doesn't bind up anywhere. But I start with this front edge here. Tuck that in first. And then I want to slide this down into the seal here, because the bottom gasket actually gives you a surprising amount of space. And then I just keep sliding it forward, shift it up. And as long as my patterns have worked out great, ooh, Where quarter windows really let me down is when they stick. So as long as you can keep them sliding, you have a lot more time to get it exactly where you need to. I'm gonna need a couple different squeegees here. So I misplaced the ones I use the most. And then I also need this guy. So the only part right now that's kind of not the greatest is this top corner is pushed off the glass a little bit. Top corners are the worst. I should have had that in my belt already. Using a platinum easy reach to tuck in all the edges. So this is a good little difference here. I really like tri-edges. I'll use them in all these sides because it can sneak in a lot of different types of seals. Like, look, it can pry this back, no problem. Good. But on these sharper rubber gaskets, the edge is just a little too blunt, and that's where an easy reach comes in, and that'll slide right in the seal. And then I can do that swipe, go all the way up into my corner. As long as it doesn't bind up, it'll squeegee out. So let's check it out. Did we do it? Oh my God. First try? First try? Heck yeah. Oh. Just some air. Get that out. All the way to my edge. All my edges are covered. Oh, that is fucking beautiful. Sweet. We did one. Now the other side will take us 4 times. Oh, no. So somebody mentioned earlier about this tape. Okay, so I've still been on the look for tape. Believe it or not, this is the manufacturer of Tuck Tape. But Tuck Tape is a brand, and so is Tyvek, and so is Lowe's House Wrap Tape. They're all sheathing tape brands. So Tuck Tape is a Canadian brand, only available in Canada and on Amazon, so you can still buy it. But I tracked down their manufacturer, talked to them, and a local rep popped in, and I had a nice chat with him. So he brought me a couple samples, but it's really expensive to get my hands on, unless we're playing around with in the neighborhood of... Oh, shit, what is that? That was weird. Okay. Well, my GoPro just decided to be kooky. Kooky, that's a fun word for today. But anyways, after talking to the distributor, which I still don't know pricing on it yet, but it's in the neighborhood of, like, if you want to stock it at a reasonable price, it's probably in the neighborhood of like $15,000 to $20,000 worth of an order. And I like it. But when it's $15,000 to $20,000 worth of stock, and I was like, hey, I can still find it on basically the same price per roll here, and they're like, oh, hang on, let me get back to you. That's tough. I want to brag on you. If anybody was thinking about ordering from Matt, I can say do it. Very impressed how quick the orders get processed and shipped. Aw, thanks, man. Do you know why that is? That's that dude right there. That's that's why. If it's left to me, this shit gets put off for a couple days because it's so many things going on. But yeah, Jack's the true champ of the store. He's on it. Thank you. The username is not sure. That's even better. I got my package in a day. Cool. When you use regular microfiber towels, when you install, is there any chance of lint on the windows? That's a good question. I've had it a couple times lately. Good time for it. I concur with not sure. Are you not sure? All right, so we'll prep this one. So 1-inch razor blade, scraping the razor blade, and we'll get to where I use a towel, and I'll kind of explain that. Are you doing the classes again? Yeah, there's going to be one more class this year. It's going to be November 1st to the 3rd. The next one is probably going to be in February of the following year. That's a weird way to say it. February of next year. I'm guessing. It's not officially posted, but... Okay, so scrape the window. I'm going to clean off my top edge with a clay bar, scrub that down, then, wow. And then wipe it off with the towel. So I've scraped it all. The point of that is to loosen up the dirt. At this point, I could even take a towel and wipe off my window, and this is not a lint-free towel. This is just a nice microfiber. So swipe all that. We're going to join the class. 313tint.com. That's got all the class info. So there's going to be lint and shit, but it's all loose on the window. So when you do this, you're almost like pushing the dirt here. You're picking some up off of the towel. I'll do this after I scrape glue off the glass. But where your real cleaning tools are is after you've loosened everything off the glass. That's where a good squeegee comes into play. And so you want a squeegee that's not going to leave streaks behind. So as soon as I do this, the glass is like completely dry, which means that I've taken everything from here and I've moved it over to here. Some of it has gotten onto the squeegee and it's all collected right here. So let me just do that. Do this, overlapping strokes all the way down. Glass is completely dry in this area. So then I'm going to use a card, swipe down on one side, swipe down on the other, but I'll do a little step together. When I'm swiping here, I'll follow it up with a bath and kind of flush my seals out. And then my window is as clean as I'm practically going to get it. There's nothing else that's there other than something that might float into my window, maybe something that's in my water, or just that miscellaneous magical piece of dirt that just pops up out of nowhere and ruins your day. Tack that down. So you can actually do very little to put out a nice clean tint job. The little extra steps go above and beyond in kind of keeping your work area clean, and in case you kind of make little mistakes, it'll help. But if I tuck this into the side and then I have to pull it back out and shove it back in, then I'm for sure gonna have random little speckles. There's like no way around it. Any mistake that you make is basically gonna show in the form of like some sort of dirt. Oh my God. We're just having a fun day today. Thank you. Okay, but what I was saying is, so if you shove the tint in here and it's crinkling and it's messing up and you're just having a hard time getting it in there, that's pulling little pieces of dirt into your tint. And there's no real way around that part. Even if you tape the seals, you protect everything, you can still put out a bad tint job. But when you wipe off all the outside stuff and you put tape on the sides, that's going, I'd say, above and beyond for some installers, and just an added way of protecting it and keeping extra little bits of dirt from falling out of there. So it's not gonna ensure you get a perfect tint job, but it's gonna help. These are all little tools that you can use to hopefully get a better tint job. So some of them I use just because they're efficient and they save me a little bit of time. Some of them I use because they genuinely just, like the tape that genuinely helps keep random little bits out of the side, where every once in a while I would just get something. Can't really explain it. It's just something that got there during the install process. There's always like a little weird forensic way to kind of figure out where stuff comes from, or you can develop good ideas. So like if you have little clumps of dirt up here, then what happened was you picked up dirt from that area, either dragged along the panel, it crumpled up a little bit, you fought with it. There's typically reasons for all of it. If it's random speckles throughout the entire window, that's probably your water. Cool. Good. But yeah, so pulled the tape off of this. I don't see like any black left behind, at least nothing majorly noticeable. So these seals like are pretty damn clean. On the ones we did yesterday, there was a lot of dirt that came out, even though they were rubber seal. So some of them it's worth it, some of them not as much, but doesn't hurt to do it, especially if it saves you time. Time's going to be your biggest thing that you're always trying to get more of. Those are only the quarter windows on the front. So let's cut out a couple for the back. Oops, that's not the window. This one. Okay, so we'll get rid of this, and this. And we're going to cut out extra rear quarter windows, just like we did on the front quarter windows. Okay, I didn't. Politics usually get messy. That was funny. If there's dirt on the left, it's Biden. If it's on the right, it's Trump's fault. That's fair. There you go. That was a good one. Oh, cool. So we can squiggle all these together. All right. So now let's click cut. Let's change out a blade too in the meantime. Nice. All right, let's see how this goes. I need a bigger glass board that I'm not going to put a bunch of junk on. Ta-da! Now we gotta figure out which one goes on which side. Tips on this board. Okay, so this one should be on the other side. Good. And I flipped it, so this was the top piece. I could shrink this if I wanted to. I kind of do, just a little bit. Well, I rotated some of them, so I always got to make sure that I'm shrinking it the right way. So let's do that, just a smidge. We're gonna curl it. What are you? Go away. There. That's all I need. Just that little bit. All right, round 2. Oh, I should have put all these tri-edges in here too. I don't think I need them as much on here. This is an interesting seal too, because watch. Most gasket seals don't come back this far. So I guess I appreciate that they blocked off this portion rather than having it just exposed glass, but oh wait, let's do it this way. Yeah, like that. There we go. We're just gonna leave that in there for a second. So that'll help loosen it up. And then it'll just pull back. It's rubber. Don't forget to wedge the other front quarter. Oh, yeah, I should do that too. I should just have wedges in all of them right now. The method's good for Hondas too. Yeah, honestly, all of them that are like this, I just completely, it skips my mind. I don't really remember it until I'm already struggling with it, and then it's just like, then I end up just fighting with it again. Oh, what if we just lost the, oh God, there it goes. If you lose the whole tri-edge down in the quarter window. What % would you recommend for the front windshield tint that's discreet enough to not get pulled over? I think 50 is, like 70, you're not gonna notice at all. 50, you can tell there's tint there, but it's light enough to where I don't think most people are gonna get hassled for it. That's my main recommendation for like people that are on the fence about doing windshields, or just like, you know, I like tint on my windshields. I like what ceramic does, but if I'm gonna pay for a windshield, I also want it to look a little tinted. 50. I recommend 50 for so many of my clients. All right, that part drives me crazy. Just don't freeze. You can do a number of different things. Just don't freeze on me. I think that should be good. That's always weird to me, like when you first put it in the glass, sometimes it likes to grab until, I don't know. But It's weird. It's always weird to me that you can spray a lot of water on it, and then it feels like you didn't spray anything on it. But I'm glad that it kept going. Loosen it up a little bit. Because where that rolled, if this wasn't a really clean quarter window, that likely would have pulled in just a whole line of dirt. Got pulled over in the girlfriend's RX 350 with XPEL XR 55 on the windshield. Oh. That sucks. The main thing that I've learned over the years is, like, you're not allowed to just have fun on the road. If it looks fun, you'll get pulled over for it. So it might be 50%, but if it's in a nice, fun-looking car, then you're more likely to get pulled over for it. If you're in a boring car and it's lightly tinted, then you just blend in with traffic and they don't care. That's not a hard rule. That's what I've noticed the most. Anything that's fun was illegal. I remember looking into, like, HID headlights and all these things, and it was like, no, they got laws against all of them. And it's like, oh, what can you do? Basically nothing. That turned out great. We're 2 for 2. Have you ever tinted a 2018 Lexus GS and had any issues with the windows not rolling down? Oof. Not that issue, no. So this is after you've tinted it. Did you do the windshield and the windows won't roll down anymore? I mean, the obvious thing is maybe the battery. Other than that, switches. If you did the windshield, maybe a module got hit with some water. Those are, like, the main 3 things. Mike! I'm gonna fix my thing. You guys hear it. I don't.
Mike Hobbs super chatted $5. Long time no see, Matt. Just knocked out 22 Telluride.
That's so cool.
All ceramic and weed shield. Thanks again for the class tips.
Oh, that's so cool. Didn't I say? I knew it. I fucking knew it, man. Good job. Mike with the 5. So he was tinting. When he came to class, he'd been tinting for what? Like 7 months to a year? Somewhere in there. But he was doing ceramic. His clients were coming to him literally asking for ceramic. And he would show a lot of people ceramic, and then they would just get it. And it's like, oh, dude, you gotta do windshields. And so one of the main things that we focused on, like, we went through reverse rolling windshields, and now he's doing windshields. And dude, that's awesome. I'm sure you've done a bunch by now. That's super cool. Check the child lock button on the front driver's panel. Might have bumped it. Well, yeah, but the driver's windows would still work. If you have fingers in the bottom after you've installed it, can you still heat them out? You can. It's way easier if they're smaller, but it's way more annoying. So the seal here is gonna stay wet. Like, no matter how much you pull it back and you try and dry it out, like, this seal will stay wet. So one of the best things that I can tell you is if you have a couple shanks or a way to hold that seal back. Here, this is a secret technique here. I need more shanks. Hey, can you get me like 5 shanks? It's okay if they're crappy ones. Perfect. Thank you. All right. So what I would do is call this the picket fence. At least two. So let's say you had a finger right here. I would put a shank there, and I put a shank there. And what that's going to do is that's going to hold back the seal far enough away from that finger where it gives it an opportunity to dry out. But there's not a great way to heat it, so it's going to take some time. And then if you really wanted to, you could just put a whole bunch of you could put a whole bunch of shanks in there. But the idea is really simple. You just want to hold that seal back farther away and just give it some time to dry out. Honestly, it would be smart to do something like this and take like a hair dryer, something that's going to blow warm air but not hot enough to burn the panels, and just hold that back and just shoot air down into the seal, so that way, you know, when you press that water out, water's not getting back in from here, and then it'll dry out way faster. But you can do them if they're not super tall. Like even taller fingers you can. It's just the more you press it down and it pops back up, the more dirt it's going to suck back up into your tint. But that seal is going to be a big problem in getting that finger to go down. All right, let's put this back. There's my blade. Get that sticker off. Roll that down. Scrape. So we had that kind of happen more than I would have liked at the class. So there's two different ways to kind of shrink a door window. There's the way that you see me do it, called snap shrinking, and then there's like double snap, or you can just shrink the individual fingers. I used to just shrink the individual fingers, but when I noticed people doing that, is like it would genuinely look flat on the glass. They install it, and then fingers would pop up at the bottom. What that's telling you is that your film still needs to be shrunk a little bit more, and you can do that by pushing. So when you see those fingers at the bottom, if you push the film together just a little bit more and make those fingers a little bit bigger, then you're shrinking the film more to what it needs so it forms to the glass. So when I'm snapping it, it's tightening it up along the bottom, but I could over tighten it or under tighten it or anything in between. So that's what's nice about it. So I kind of know how tight I want it to be on the glass, where it's likely not going to pop up a finger. That's that nice snap. So the other way is, I've said double snapping, and I don't have a good way to show this right now, but basically you shrink the individual fingers, you pick it back up off of the glass, and then you take like a felt card, tack down one side, tack down the other, and then shrink that material again right at the bottom. So you only pick it up off of the glass maybe 6 to 8 inches off the bottom, and you reshrink that whole area, and that tightens up everything. Hey, Uncle Matt. Things are going good. Things have been slowly moving forward, and then just a lot of stuff all happened at the same time. Ooh. The windshield was treated with a Teflon spray. I'd post that one in my Facebook group. Honestly, I don't have a good answer for you. I've run into like one windshield with a ceramic, with like, at least that I've noticed, a ceramic coating that didn't even really let glass aid stick onto it. He was only getting like a windshield strip, but that kind of threw a monkey wrench into it. I'm sure there's people that would do the same on the inside of the glass. Honestly, I haven't run into it, but I'm sure there's other people that have, and that would have a really good answer for you in the Facebook group. So Window Tint Stuff Facebook group. My first, I would try and do something that works with the coating so you wouldn't have to try and do anything to remove it. Obviously, if it was on the inside, that's way different, but yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, it just wouldn't stick to the inside? Yikes. Yeah, then the coating would have to be removed because there's no way around it. All right, let's tuck this in. Is that a round felt card? Yeah, we got rounded felt cards now. So we got the rectangle felt cards that everybody knows and loves. And then I saw these were an option, and I'm like, ooh, that actually looks sweet. So I picked these up. What's really nice is they are an inch wider. So it's not just about the roundness. So this is reasonably ergonomic, but I don't use it like that all the time. But it is an inch wider, so it just gives you a little further reach than the 4-inch card. So this is a 5-inch round. They're pretty nifty. They're also a little bit thicker, so they're a little bit more rigid too. Ooh, that's a good question. That's a shade one. See, I've got family now, so I know exactly how to answer that. Would you rather have 20 on the front with 70 on the windshield or 35 on the front with 50 on the windshield? I would rather do, for sure, 35 on the front with 50 on the windshield. Your front doors stay lighter, your windshield stays a little bit darker, and that's actually what I do on all my personal vehicles. Where when I do 20 on the front doors and 35 on the windshield, or 20 on the front doors and 50 on the windshield, I'm always a little bit leery driving past the police. But 35 and 50 is it's not giving me it's giving me some privacy, but not as much. But I like the little bit of added darkness to it, and especially the ceramic. So yeah, 50 and 35 is an awesome look on it. But I'd probably be a coin flip between 35 and 20 on the front door still with 50 on the windshield. All right, let's leave this here. We got some patterns. Let's try and do that guy right there. So you already shrunk the windows? Yeah, I shrunk all the doors. I have a habit of doing them all at the same time. Maybe for the sake of some of these live streams, I should do a door at a time and just go through all the steps one by one. That way you don't have to skip through the video and find where I shrunk them. But yeah, I shrink them all back to back. It's just how I install things. I love 5% all around. Oh, God. He gave me a nice reminder, and then I totally said I should do that, and then I didn't. And then here we are. Let me put these in here for a little bit. So these gasket seals are a little tight, so I'm just wedging in that front space. Gives me a little bit more space to push in a quarter window, and hopefully it won't bind up. But that's why we got lots of extra ones cut out in case. 2018 Lexus GS, I did the windshield, but put the soak rope, the windshield. 2018 Lexus GS, I did the windshield. I used the soak rope and the dash towel, and now the customer is telling me the front passenger window is not rolling down. Did you also cover up the switches too? I'm not sure. With electronic issues, there's no, this really sucks, but there's no clear answers on electronic issues. It's all individual. Every car's a little different. Some people run into certain issues on some cars and they don't run into it on other cars. Sometimes it's just, you know, you just hit the wrong thing. But there's really the only common electronic things are like BCM and windshields, but usually a lot more goes wrong. Yes, I did cover up the doors. So then it's likely not the switches. I'm not sure. Yeah, so you covered all your bases and there's still a problem. I don't know. That's another post for the group. You can ask, maybe somebody's run into a particular issue on that. But water issues, if it's something got wet that wasn't supposed to get wet, then it needs to dry, and then you cross your fingers that when it dries out, it was just a short connection that then isn't damaged. Do you have do you have an inspirational speech for people that have had shitty tint jobs lately? It's tough, man. I don't have anything prepared, but I've been there. It's a grind. I mean, even when I was in this shop, there were definitely points where it's like I got super frustrated. I'm like, I should be well past this. I have the space that I want. Everything's all set up. I mean, I did everything by the book, and I just like running into issue after issue after issue. The only thing that you can really do is just keep grinding through it. Eventually that problem will start to disappear. Like I would come up with like weird problems out of nowhere. And it would be the same thing over and over again. Like I'd put a small crease when I pulled the bottom of the release liner on my door windows. I'd put like a small crease in the film. And it was always in the same spot, and it was like super frustrating. I wouldn't even notice it was happening until I saw it after it was already there. And I'm like, what the fuck? It didn't happen last week, and now it's on every car. So I still have days that are not great. At the end of, oh God. Yeah, speaking of days that are not that great. Sorry guys, internet problems. Nothing that I can do anything about other than literally change my internet, which I'm in the process of. That's gonna be about a month though. When the weather starts to turn here, my internet connection gets real iffy. So I can only slow the bit rate down and hope that that fixes it. What a bummer. Yeah, I called around, and, oh, really, this bottom corner? Of all the places, that spot? That should be, like, the easiest spot here. Ooh, we might have got it. Yeah, so my internet is Comcast. It's $1,000 down. It costs me $250 a month, but it's the max that I can get upload is 40, which is fine if it's consistent. The problem is it's not consistent. So I called around after Comcast annoyed me the other day. And turns out WOW Internet can install fiber here. So we're going to be moving to a different thing entirely. Unfortunately, it's more expensive. But, you know, when my streams depend on it, that's what you got to do. So business internet is really frustrating. When it's considered business class internet, they just basically triple the price. And it's, as far as you can tell, identical to what is at home. Like, what's the difference? I don't know. The price. I work for an internet company here in Pennsylvania. Wish I could help you. Dang, I appreciate it, though. I've had a tech come out here, so Comcast has business techs that'll come out here. And, dude, I even showed them the stuttering. And I'm like, do you see that? And they're like, no, not really. I'm like, are you blind? They're like, well, we ran line tests, and it is teetering up and down a little bit, but it's still within usable, like, usability. So that basically means that for the situation that you have, it's just unfortunate. It's still working in order to completely ensure that everything would be up to 100%. They would have to redo basically the way all the lines are ran, which is a very expensive project, and they're not going to do that for me. So I'm kind of stuck. I have to either switch entirely, well, which wouldn't have been a problem to switch entirely, except they're literally like the fastest provider. So I called up WOW, and they said that they are fronting the construction fees to run fiber over here, and then I just pay more a month. So, yay! And yeah, fiber is the way to go. It's great as long as it's just in your area. That's the problem. This is all territorial, and you kind of like, I don't know, you get lucky with your service providers. I'm trying to figure out which way, if I'm shrinking this, which way it's going. I might have just screwed it up. Did you go to Tinter Battles? Oh, the one that's coming up? Oh, I totally would have been there. It's such a perfect, smart setup, especially for people with families, because it's all there in one place, and they basically just made it a vacation. It's awesome. But I will be out of the country then, so I can't go. Which way did I face this? Oh, that way. Well, that would have been good to think about beforehand. All right, let me move it to... I can shrink it this way, so I should have just paid attention. This quarter window is for the other side. This one is what I need, and I can shrink it this way. Oh, wait, no, shrink it this way. I'm smart. We're going back to the homeland, man. We're going back to the Philippines. My wife hasn't seen her family in a couple years now, especially with the shutdowns. Like, her parents have a grandson that they haven't met. So yeah, we're going over there. Seemed like it was forever away, and now it's now it's coming up fast. But yeah, wanted to go to the tint event that just happened in San Antonio, but with the trip coming up at the end of the year, yeah, it could have gotten done, but we would have been way too stressed out. He's hitting terrible twos right now. So he knows how to drive you crazy, that's for sure. And even a short flight, he is not super fun on a short flight. So I don't even know how we're gonna manage the one that we're going on. What's the most you've made in a day tinting? That's a good question. I mean, I'd have to think about it a little bit more, but probably a couple grand in a day. I mean, there's those unique things where, like, okay, we had some, like, fleet vehicles, and it was just back to back to back to back. Or there was the more practical, like, oh, I just had a killer day. I did a lot of cars, worked a little later than I normally do, and a lot harder, but slammed out a bunch of work. It was probably a couple grand in a day. When you have the right setup by yourself or with a company, I mean, by yourself is one thing. With a company, it's a little bit more, I think, transparent, because, like, there's the amount of work that your shop can do in a day, right? That's gross, but then you have expenses out of it. Or there's the amount of money that, like, hey, I did this work and I got a physical check for this amount of money at the end of the day. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, is like I was tinting for some other companies and probably a couple grand in a day. Usually from spending 2 days at Symbol over in Shelby, just like an average check from, like, not working too hard. It was like, you know, decent couple days. It was usually like $1,200 to $1,500 for those couple days. That was nice. That's what helped me start this place too, which was really good. That's why I still say, like, mobile for other companies is such a nice way to make an income, because you're leveraging their customer base. You're the tinter. They give you a space. They just want to make some extra money. And when Window Tint's not their primary business, what's nice about it is that they're more flexible on margins. Because, like, oh, hey, we can pull in this extra service. This is what he charges per car. And then if we just load him up for work, we get this amount of money, and we don't have to worry about anything. He carries all the film. He brings in the tools. He shows up, takes care of our customers. Everybody's happy. Sweet. And then, especially people that don't like talking to customers, I've had to become a lot more familiar with that. I'm not a super outgoing people person. I've kind of had to force myself to do that. But yeah, like, when I would walk up front, I might at most say hello to a customer, but I pretty much like walk up front, go get in the car, pull it in back, and then I'll talk to people at the shop. But I was very to myself, headphones all day. So especially for those situations when it's just like, hey, we got like 4 cars for you to do today. Awesome. Sweet. Everything's all nicely spaced out. Everything on my schedule is fairly easy going. That was a great day. Good money, easy going. All I have to worry about is did I bring the film? And then clients show up and there you go. Surprise. You use a green and blue hose on your tint keg, and that's all brass in the tip. Okay, yeah. So my setup, I like to show options, and I'm still stubborn about the hoses, but I've pretty much fully come around to the blue one. I like this color better. But this is a Flexilla airline hose, and this is a hybrid hose that was made for fluid. So the blue one lasts longer, but both of them are still good options. And yeah, on each sprayer, I have a cone tip on this side, and I have a fan tip on the other side. So you can tint with both of them just fine. If I had to buy one or the other, I'd probably still buy the cone tip, but you use a little more water on what you're using than you do with the fan tip. But the cone tip's adjustable, and yeah, these are all brass. All the fittings on the keg are either brass or stainless steel, so they don't rust. And there's two dip tubes, so I can leave one sprayer on each side of the car. I just quick disconnect them off of the keg, go fill it up, bring it back, hook it up in that space, and I'm good to go. Yeah, I've used both of them long enough at this point. And if you left one of each on a table, and I had to pick between them, I'm picking up the cone tip. But there's nothing at all wrong with the fan tip, other than it's just non-adjustable. So it's personal preference. How to time live, what? I'm gonna go for the brass cone and the blue hose. That's a good choice. Also, the tank size, 3 gallons is perfect. 5 is too much. So when I was mobile, I'd run around with a 3-gallon keg. I'd have to fill it up sometimes one more time if I just had like a lot of work to do and I sprayed probably way too much water on everything. But also, I'm going to freshen up my tank basically once a day. And a 5-gallon one is like, there's a lot of waste in that. And it's a lot to store and carry around with you. Right into how many cars can you do with a 3-gallon. So like a good busy day for me was probably 3 to 4 full cars, so that's not including windshields. That's sides and rear. Scattered amount of sets of doors, so usually 2 or 3 sets of doors. And I'm good at that. And then they stress me out with adding like a windshield or 2. That was like a hectic, busy day at that point with adding those extra windshields. But you know, you get a full car, comes in, hey, is there any way I can get a windshield on that too? Yeah, sure, no problem. So now this went from a full car to a full car with a windshield. Gotta stay ready for stuff like that. A comfortable day where I'm just like mostly chilling is like 3 cars with a couple sets of doors and a windshield. It's that fourth car or so that really starts to like Damn it. I gotta work today. Is that all the way up? Oh, it's not. Just slightly down. But you could get through that full day. You could definitely get through that full day. On a 3-gallon keg, and then it'd be blowing air by the end of it. But if you come in and you start with, you tinted a couple cars or like a set of doors or two at the end of the day before, and it was a cold night, early morning, and you're kind of working through your day, near like 3/4 of the day, you're then changing out your water, or you're, filling it back up. Thoughts on the 1.75 gallon keg for someone who's only doing 2 cars a day? I think with the cost of it, it still makes more sense to get a 3-gallon, but you just don't need to put as much water in it. 5-gallon is too much. 1.75, like it's a nice keg, but the cost isn't much different on it. So you might as well just spring for the 3-gallon, and then if you don't want to just have that much water in your keg, then just don't put that much water in your keg. So that's actually a good point. Today, this is my main job for today, so I don't need to fill up my entire tank. So I filled it up to here. And all these kegs, you're gonna leave an air gap space. So in a 3-gallon keg, you're not filling it up to the top with water. You're filling it up to about here or here, like in this range. And then you leave this amount of space for air, because as that water goes down, that air expands. So if you only left this much room at the top for air, the air pressure is going to be pretty weak by the end of it, and you're going to want to top it off again. Damn. Is that it? Are we done with the quarters? And we didn't remove any door panels or anything? Heck yeah. That was like the one part about this car that I was sure I was going to have to redo at least a couple times. Nice. We green today? I think the whole market's green today, isn't it? Dude, what the heck? There's so many articles about doom, and I'm pretty sure it's happening. And then Credit Suisse is blowing up, and next thing you know, it's like, oh yeah, SPY up 3%. Okay. I didn't even hardly look until after the day's over at this point. I just set it and forget it. It's been that way for a long time. What do they say? I'm zen now. Where can I buy the keg setup? What would I look to buy that setup? Market is for, I agree. Sun Distributing. So click that link right there, the Sun Distributing link. They do all the tint keg stuff. Super cool people. So a couple other things that I didn't mention is like these kegs are super well made. So they upgrade all the O-rings. They put brass air valve in the top so you can pressurize the keg from just like a tire filler essentially. They also upgrade the pressure release so you can put 100 PSI in there and tint comfortably. You don't have to put that much pressure in it, but you definitely can if you want to. Right now I have mine set to 90. So if I'm gonna fill this up, okay, I'll give it a little demo here too. Excuse me things that I should have put in a better spot. So this guy here, so these are the quick disconnects. So what's cool about them is if I pull up, they have, I think they still got the metal ones, but they also have plastic ones. And then, so this is still pressurized. I can just pop this back on, press down, and then it clips. And then it only spilled a little amount of water, that's all. Like I said, upgraded pressure release valves, pressure release valve, upgraded valve stem. And so if I want to fill this up or take out the air, what I do is I take these things off when I'm going to go fill it up at the sink over there. And then I have to take out all the pressure. So I pull up on this thing, twist it, and it yells at me. And then I open up the lid, fill it up with water. This is already full, ready to go, so just examples here. So then I put this back down, take my clip here, put that on there. That's just so I don't have to sit there and hold it. And then I use that air compressor right there, and I'm just gonna fill it up to 90. And I can walk away and go do what I need to do. One Credit Suisse turned to Swiss cheese. No, it's Credit Suisse is strong. Scary stuff. All right, so we got to set up this back window. I probably should have said that before I started emptying the air pressure out of my tank. But these hold a little bit of pressure, so watch. Ghost spray. Look. I don't need a tank. It's magic. So let's get one of these scrubbies or Libman squeegee. So whenever I clean off a back window, you know, they typically don't have stickers on them. I'll spray soapy water on it, scrub it down, and then use one of these guys. See, it's just got a farther reach. That's why I like these so much. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a little one down here, 5 on that. That's on, I think, an 8-inch squeegee. Because the first thing that I would do is I would do it with this. And this works just as well. Like your handled squeegee works just as well. It's just I got to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it just takes an annoying amount of time, and you're running your nice prep squeegee and insulation squeegee over the dirty glass. Makes sense. Let's put glass aid on it. I was tinting a car once, the battery died. I think we've all been there. The worst is when the battery dies and then you don't have a car charger because it was too cheap when I opened up this place. I had one of those like quick chargers or those quick jumpers, and then it didn't work. It sat for too long. The battery basically just didn't work anymore. So I went to jump something, and it didn't have enough. It just was dead, and to charge it back up would take at least a few hours. And it's like, well, I'm stuck now. So that's not fun. All right, so we line the outside, and now we need to prep that. What? That's goofy. Canon. These dumb things, man. Bring me back my neckband headphones. It said it disconnected, and I have no idea why. Okay, now it's connected again. It just decided to be dumb. Now it should be good. Okay, so let me get my spray tank back because I kind of need it. No, my headband ones I used way too much and they lost me. So they eventually broke. I use those things 6 days a week for like 8 hours a day. I get about a year to a year and a half worth of use out of them before I just random issues. They would start disconnecting, and the earbud went or something. I don't know. It's just usually something with the headband would kind of break. What do we need? We need a baggie. Do you like cutting the back window by hand, not by the plotter? Actually, both of them are perfectly good. So if I didn't put a bunch of junk on a glass table, then it'd be quick and easy for me to do it that way. Right off of the plotter, like, you need a way to kind of weed it off. So it's not as ideal right now. So easier for me to just set this up and do it this way. But yeah, my Bose neckband ones, they could connect to my phone, and they could also connect to a PC at the same time. All the truly wireless ones only seem to be able to connect to one device at a time. So I connect them to the computer so I can hear you guys, but then if I get a phone call, I'm taking that phone call off headphone. So I think at this point, I have to say screw it and then buy a pair just for the stream. But they're discontinued Bose. They don't make them anymore, so that's why I moved to these ones. I just go to Best Buy, and I had their protection plan, and then I would repurchase that, and then they'd swap out the headphones. But since they discontinued them, they just say, here's a gift card for the value of them, which was like $300, which was great. And then I ended up getting these headphones instead. And they're good headphones. Just like if the battery case is near dead, then I can't actually switch it from one device to the other one. It's got to start to charge back up, where the headphones will still have a charge. And then everything's dependent on this little button here. And I often have to just basically reset them. So take an ear out, put it in here, close it up, open it back up, put the ear in. Hear the little boom. It's annoying. How many cars have you done today, and how many more do you have to go? This is my day. This is my whole day. Things here have definitely been slower. Been working on both video and a lot on tracking down products and working on the store. Let's see, what are we doing? 20. Where's my 20? Oh yeah, it's on the plotter. Speaking of. Do you like the styling of the new WRX? Personally, I'm not too fond of it. That's what Jack was telling me, is it didn't get a lot of love. I don't know. Like, I definitely think it's a cool looking car. I wouldn't buy a WRX because I'd want to buy an SUV instead, but no, I mean, I think it's a good looking car. Something about the plastics, though. But it's a rally car, isn't it? I don't know. I'm not too into that, but no, I think it's decent. You don't use dryer sheets anymore? No, I do, actually. I just grab whatever is most convenient at the time. So, it flip-flops back and forth. Dry shrink prep I use a lot, especially when it comes to this. So if I don't prep it ahead of time, it's quick to just pick up the baggie, spray it, and things are ready to go within a matter of seconds. If I do a little bit more planning ahead of time, I'll have this glass aid, then prep the back window, but then I have to wait for it to dry. But yeah, I still use both. But more often than not, I end up just reaching for the dry shrink prep baggie and then just doing that. It's a great solution. Speaking of, where's my, there. So, rounded felt card. What do you do in the winter when it slows down? You work on everything else that you wish you had time to do when it was busy. And it's annoying because you always forget what those things are. Until you're like working on other things. Where can I get that dry shrink prep bag? Google search dry shrink prep. And you'll find dryshrinkprep.com. And that's where Patrick sells those. How many times can you use it before you have to refill? Well, he sent me that baggie a while ago now. I'd say probably 6 months, easily. Like a one baggie will go a very, very long way. But the, yeah, on my site right now, I've got dryer sheets. I still use both. You shrunk that fast compared to the Lexan? Yeah, it depends on which one you get now. No, this is what I've always liked about Geo, or one of the many things that I've liked, is it's very consistent. So as soon as you put heat to it, it shrinks down. There isn't a lot of fuss with it. This isn't like a super curvy back window. So, like, these fingers are not very big, but watch. As soon as you put the heat gun up all the way, point it at like a 45, as soon as you start seeing that shrink a little bit, just keep the heat gun moving. Does YouTube pay well? If you do things that get lots and lots of views, yeah. But the annoying part with YouTube is if you're dependent on views, then you're constantly chasing views, which is why videos get outrageous and ridiculous. So when you have like educational stuff, you really need a store or something to help support what you do. I didn't learn that until a lot later, because there's like you cool dudes who buy stuff out of the store, and that helps keep everything going here. It wouldn't be able to work that way, or it wouldn't be able to work any other way. If it was 100% off of YouTube, yeah, I wouldn't have been able to move into this building. My rent just went up by $1,000 too, and now we're investing in fiber internet for this place, which is going to be another added cost on my internet. Yay. But it has to happen, or then we have like stupid slow bit rates, and then the stream gets all choppy now, and good God, what an annoying problem to have. But yeah, so every once, like it's consistent, but every once in a while I have a video pop off and it's like a super nice bonus. But I have to meme it up pretty hard for that to happen. And I get tired of that because it doesn't always work. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Can you make an updated tint tool list? Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. I still feel like I should go back and watch that video because I feel like it's not... Ugh. What was it? No, I should watch that video because I feel like it's not that much different, but there's been all the Tint Studio stuff is very new. It's kind of like spawned off of stuff that I was already using. So you have like, you know, green shinks instead of yellow. You have the Tint Studio tri-edges. But there's definitely, I'm sure there's some additions that I just think that are in that video that aren't. Yeah, we should do an updated one. Basically, right now, almost everything, like there's still a few things that I'm adding, but basically everything in the store right now is like everything in my tool belt right now, including the tool belt. I'd like to thank you for doing your live streams. We're always trying to make good money videos. I enjoy seeing your process. Thank you. Yeah, like at the end of the day, I always wanted people to be able to learn how to do this, and it was annoying to have to pick between the two. Like, I can either do something for views, or I can do something that'll actually, like, teach people the skill. That sucks. My rent went up $500, and I low-key feel like this tinting business is not as profitable. So it can be. It's tough, and the road is different for everybody. If you are going out on your own and making your own tint business, there's definitely unexpected added expenses that you just don't think of. And even the things that I can talk about just don't even quite fill in the whole scope of just random costs that are there. When you're mobile, that's not as much, but what you don't have in upfront building costs, you have an opportunity cost. So if I go tint for like a glass shop, right, and they can get me 5 cars in a day, I'm making, well, okay, let's be practical. Like the 3 cars, couple windshield, couple sets of doors. I'm making good money doing that, and I don't have to pay for a building. It's basically just vehicle, so whatever I feel like driving, show up with the film, and then those are like, that's my costs. All right, what do I need? I need a clay bar. But when you're mobile and you're running around from place to place to place to place, you can typically only pull out about 3 cars in a day, and you're always running around. And those gas prices are no joke right now. So I've heard from people, you're probably going to spend, I don't know, $1,500 to $2,500 a month in gas, depending on how busy you are. And that's basically like shop rent. Like that is that's definitely like a small shop rent just in gas costs. But what hurts more is the money that you're not making at the time. So when you partner up with a good company and they can just get you a lot of work, then you don't have to worry about a lot of things. You don't have to worry about getting the customers. You don't have to worry about talking to them. They already have the client base. They've got the business. You're trying to butt in on their business. So it's like with any business, there's people that are established, and then there's people that are butting in trying to take some market share. And in certain areas, it's just hard to grab market share from people that already have good businesses set up. So it's really a matter of time and creative marketing, but it is a hustle. Then there's some other people that just seem to get lucky. And then they just like, hey, they let a couple friends and family know they got the right connections. And next thing you know, they're doing high-end cars for people that I've never touched before. I don't know. So everybody's got a different path. Areas really do matter. But you can make good money out of not so great areas. You just got to work a little differently. So if what you're doing right now is not working, then while you have time, figure out how to fill that time with other opportunities. Whether that be, hey, I'm going to go partner up with this shop for a couple days a week. And then all of a sudden, like, you're making consistent money on that. And then you're building up your own business on the other end. Time is always opportunity. I finally, like, kicked myself in the ass a little bit. I'd get really frustrated doing mobile and waiting at shops that supposedly had an appointment and then somebody didn't show up. And then I'm just like, oh, well, now they wasted my time. But then I kind of flipped that around on myself and I eventually said, I got mad at myself for allowing them to waste my time. And that's when I started taking things back. And basically, you know, nothing's ever going to run perfectly. But taking away opportunities for other people to then waste my time was kind of what I started focusing on. Ways to make money outside, so then I wasn't dependent on that. But, you know, if you're building your own tint business, like I said, there'll be that point where you'll have downtime that you can fill it with other things. And honestly, a quick way is to go canvas some other shops. Be like, hey, things are slow right now, looking for some extra work. I could tint for you, set up a structure for them, give them 1 or 2 days a week, start with 1 day, and then see how they do. That's immediate money that's going to pad you and make things less stressful. And who knows, you might actually like servicing that account. You might just run a little hybrid business there where you start picking up some local shops, tinting for other companies, and then next thing you know, your shop gets busy and you're like, oh, I don't want to drop these people. And then you hire somebody, teach them, and then they're handling your mobile accounts and you're handling your main shop. And then you start growing outside of yourself. There's a lot of creative ways to run this business, and it shouldn't all be necessarily, like, it's really hard to make it all dependent on one thing. You usually see it's like a lot of little things working together. But, you know, even if that part doesn't work out, you'll definitely learn a lot about how another shop is run. I mean, that was one thing I really appreciate about walking into other companies. I get to see firsthand. I can talk to their sales guys. I can see if they have a better idea of doing things or if they're just dumb. And I learned something from every company that I worked with, good or bad. I either learn what to do, a cool way to look at something, or something not to do. One thing I learned from a lot of crappy companies was how arrogant old-timey salespeople can be. And then you throw a new person at the counter with a basic script and they can outsell them on the first day. %. 0%. zero. Limo over limo is like 0.0025 or something like that. I did that in a video. It was kind of fun. It's worth it. I think it's worth it. Worth the money to have a legit location, though. Your space is very professional, awesome looking. Film stacks, race stack. Good friggin' job, Matt. Thank you. Yeah, I'm super happy that I did it. I mean, I said this for a long time. When I was at the home garage, I don't want to open up a shop. Taking on that dedicated overhead is scary. But it finally gave me certain opportunities that I didn't have otherwise. It's just a space to pull in a car, and it's surprising to me how difficult that is to come by. Like, I see all these YouTubers, they have offices, they can have their space wherever they want. They can do it at home in a bedroom. They can rent out a little office space if they want to. Like, they don't have to pull a car in anywhere. And then here I am, like, I need a place to pull in a car. That's my whole thing. And it was super difficult. So everybody that has a place to pull in a car is using it for a business. For, like, an established tint place or whatnot. Ever see Mike's glass cleaning clay pad? Yeah, the like nano skin ones. I've tried them out. They're a little bit different. They don't work as good as a synthetic clay bar. Same thing for like the magic erasers. One thing I really liked about the glass clay bars is when you use them on a defroster, like they're white, so you can actually see if it's doing something or not. All the other clay bars, like the nano skin ones, they're annoying because they're all black. So I'd use one of those, then I'd go over the same area with a glass clay bar, and I'd still pull black stuff off of the defrosters. But using anything is going to be more helpful than not, so. I don't know what this is. There's like these, saw this as soon as I was tinting on it, but now you can see them a little bit more. I don't know, there's some like staining on the glass. Wonder if I can take care of that. I wonder if Squeaky Monkey's up to the job on that one. But yeah, clay bars, scrub pads. Ugh. Camera battery low? I don't know. Usually it just dies. It's tough to say until it's dead. How long is it? How long have we been streaming for? That's the best gauge there. 2.5 hours? It's probably still got a half hour left. Have you tried the bulldozer that Mike sells, the lime green one? Yeah, I picked one up, but I haven't used it yet. Okay, so this goes with pretty much every plastic backlash tool that's out there. I always like an actual squeegee edge, which is why I really like the original bulldozer. Anytime I use like a plastic one, they just don't seem to like seal as well to the glass. And like you need that little like mushy pressure to like, you pushes really strong against it. Whenever I take like the plastic ones, like sometimes you can get like these, for example, you can get little air bubbles out. They're still decent tools. Here, I'll get the yellow one so you guys can see it. These are still situational, like they're still good for specific things, but this hard plastic edge, I know they put like Teflon tape over it too. I just never have liked these very much for back windows, but they are an option. So his that green one, for the right situation, I think it's probably a good option. But I always go back to the bulldozers. I'm looking for where's my clay bar? Ooh, and the scrub pad. All right. Do we have one of these that are open? Oh, this one's open. But it is green, so that's pretty awesome. I'm gonna see if that'll take whatever this stuff is off. The blue is strong today. Hey! That's cool. I haven't used this stuff in a while. There's like, I don't know how much I'm gonna have to work at this to get it out, or even what the heck it is. Let me find one with a pad. There's just some staining on this glass is all. But it's like bright. So, should try that all-in-one squeegee like the hybrid. Interesting. Yeah, you can still kind of see them. Having your stream on makes me feel like I'm working, even when I don't have any appointments. Man, it's rough. I just went this past couple of weeks, and it was definitely slow going. The occasional appointment here or there, but it was definitely slow. It's helped. It's definitely way better than it was. But yeah, there's like, you can see this, I don't know if you guys can see this like bright streak staining. I don't know what this is. I don't usually see anything like that. Would a blade help? No. No, it's actually like some chemical stain in the glass or something like that. I don't know if it's from like bird droppings or literally a chemical stain. I don't know. But now that you have a nice tinted piece of glass, you know, it's going to show a little bit more on this back window. So, I mean, it bleeds all into the blackout area too. So it's not like a tint thing. It's just here. And his car looks all nice except for this back window. I'm just seeing if I can lighten it up. Do you have fruit bats in Michigan? I have no idea. I see bats. I don't know what kind they are, though. Aren't fruit bats, like, really big? Have you ever used a torch when shrinking a windshield? Yeah, I've played around with torches. Torch shrinking, like I was. There was this point when they started blowing up in the Facebook groups, and I would talk to Rick from Sun Distributing about this. We were like, that can't be good for the film, or that's kind of insane. Why would you, like, what's the point? It'll save you some seconds, but I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. And that part's true. It'll definitely save you a little bit of time, but it's not gonna save you all that much time. But it's cool. And then he started playing around with it. He learned a lot about it, and he became really good at doing it. But I never focused too much on it because nobody should just pick up a torch and start practicing that on their own car if they've never shrunk film before. So I get asked enough about shrinking, as it is with a heat gun, so we stick to that. But I've played around with it. I have a torch. I pretty much use it now to help dry out the film a little bit faster on a cold day. So let's put these back in. I actually did a pretty good job on the outside. Oh, that's why bats, because bat droppings on the glass. Gotcha. That makes way more sense now. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, I don't remember seeing any staining that ever looked like that. So it was just like, it was very bright. Especially on a new car like this. I don't know. But yeah, it looks better now. Took me a little while to connect that one. There's that. Let's give this a good wipe down. Whew. I'm glad this one went so well. I was almost sure that I was going to spend way too long on these quarter windows. But yeah, everything's pretty much wrapped up here. Some good old ISO glass cleaner. Close this up, make sure we touched up everything, and then give a good look-see. Jetta back window. Yikes. They're not going to be super fun. You need a bulldozer for that one. Just be a little careful not to twist your bulldozer very much. I have a live stream on my 30th birthday. And I hit that back window, everything was good, and then I ripped a hole in it. But you have so much deck lid, you don't need to actually remove it. but if you pick up a bulldozer, this will give you enough reach in most of it. And then when you get to the corners, you got to be a little careful with something like this too. So there's a couple tools, so I would use this. That's where a green tail fin is going to come in really, really handy. Same thing for the shortcut. That's like its main use case, is those little tight corners. This is by Tri-Edge, by the way. Should see the ones in Australia. It'll eat through your clear coat in 24 hours. Damn. Everybody's just got burn holes in their car from bats in Australia. Insert terrible Australian accent. I can't do it. How do you use the tail fin? I gotta post a video. Okay, so yeah, it's a weird tool, but it's awesome. So it's a flexible rubber. There's a yellow one and there's a green one. The yellow one is terrible, the green one is awesome. So what you're gonna do is you're either gonna hold it like this, or you're gonna hold it like this. So at the bottom corners of these windows, when they're tighter, or windshield, so then I'll hold it like that and I'll swipe at the bottom. And what's really nice is that this has such a nice flex to it. It'll curve to that glass and just swipe down in those tight spots really well, and then you can pull this tool out really easily too. Sometimes it'll take a few swipes, sometimes in one direction or the other, but this is really good. So first thing that I use on a back window is going to be the bulldozer, and the bulldozer is usually good for most spaces. So you didn't see me use actually anything other than I started to order a tail fin from your site, but then I talked myself out of it. It's okay. All right, so these are like my must-have back window tools, and each one of them has a purpose. So in most situations, a side swipe is really good at hitting this bottom edge. This blade flexes to the glass pretty well too. I just wish it was a little bit longer. Oh, we're getting more in, by the way. They sent me 5 because they only had 5 in stock, and I ordered 100 more, so they should be here. I think I'm gonna put them back in stock. They should be here in a day or two. So they'll be back in stock really, really soon. But so you've got the side swipe. So, but I've got a third brake light in the way. So then insert bulldozer. Bulldozer's great because there's typically a gap in between that brake light and the glass. So this is perfect because this will reach behind something like a brake light. And if the deck lid pushes up a little farther, this is good at sneaking down in some tighter brake lights, but it's still a bigger tool. So when you get into these tighter corners, one's tighter than this, that's where then I'm gonna go for something like the tail fin, and then I'm gonna wedge it in between this area right here, and then the tool's gonna come out. Where if I go and press this up in here, sometimes it can get caught, and it's a little harder to get a tool out of one of those corners without risking pulling the film back out. So must have all 3, because you never know what situation you're gonna run into where you need, it's just, I got a couple extra air bubbles, that's what this is really good for, those really tight spots. You don't see me use this on every back window, but I definitely pull it out time to time. And usually the ones that I run into the back window with are this, the side swipe, and for sure, bulldozer. They sold out, glad I got one. Yeah, they'll be back in stock soon. They sent me what they had. And I needed 100, and they sent me 5, and I'm like, okay, at least we can get them up on the site. Ugh. Woof. Didn't mean any disrespect. Oh, no, you're all good. I just think it's funny. And talk myself out of it. So one thing that I'm going to be adding to everything on the site is these handy little, I'll show you guys. Because I've been talking a lot to Jack about this. These tool sites, they don't explain what these tools are. They talk like you already know what they are. So when you see, this is that plastic knife. Here, let me shrink this down a little bit. So like the thin knife with the plastic blade holder, this is a summary of what it does, and then we're going to post some longer videos that kind of talk a little bit, like 3 to 5 minutes, really, that kind of explain why I like the tool. Same thing with the shank. This was a really nice kind of quick video, like, what is this thing? This is a shank. This is where I use it. This is what it's for. And then we go down to, like, the Libman squeegee, right? Back glass squeegee, this is a summary of what it is. So I'm going to do that with all of the tools because, yeah, like every time, like, hey, what is that? How the heck do you use it? That should be a pretty quick and obvious thing as soon as you see the tool. Yeah, too many sites act like you already know what the thing is. Is a sunroof / moonroof a good or easy window to learn how to tint? I figured it's not too curved. Yeah, it's it depends. Okay, so it depends on the sunroof. On the outside, you're right. It's not very curved. On the inside, some will give you like a nice ceramic border the whole way around. Some will be really tight. So it just kind of depends on the sunroof. And the fact that it's facing up will be a little awkward too. But yeah, like to get your feet wet with tint, a sunroof is still, yeah, it's a window. Learn cutting, spraying. It's on the car so it can't fall off the car. That's nice. There's a longer one, like you're saying, Gasket Pro. It's called the Dominator. Oh, yeah? Oh, cool. I'll have to check it out. Yeah, because that plastic holder, you can definitely change the blade on it. And I like the blade. I just want it to be just a little bit longer, yeah. Because it's a nifty holder. Same thing with the stroke doctor. Sorry, 1 second. Let me see. What was I just talking about? Stroke doctor. So, if you were a fan of the Sideswiper, then there's the Stroke Doctor. This is the one that I was using first. This has a much better handle, so you can get a nice far reach down on the back window. Still do a similar thing. The only thing is, again, there's so much plastic here. See that? See that thickness there? When you've got a tight deck lid, that plastic then gets pressed up against the glass. So it's better to have just a little bit more blade that can form to the window as you're swiping. So any tool that'll do that is good. Did you just say stroke doctor? Yeah. Yeah, tinting tools have sometimes really silly names. There's Stroke Doctor, Lil Chiseler. Stroke Doctor is one of the best. I don't know. You guys know any funny tool names? The Conqueror. Here, let me show you guys. Fusion side piece. The Conqueror. Like, why is this thing called the Conqueror? This has been a staple for a long time, but it just is. I don't know. MacTac. I don't know why that thing's called a MacTac. The Quick Foot. That was that little plastic one I showed you guys. Smart Card. What makes it smart? I don't know. The Red Titan. Yeah, the little chiseler is definitely up there. Little foot. Tail fin. Slim foot. Yeah, see what I mean? Like, okay, so there's so many tools here. Gator blade, that's one that I did, like, gator blade, okay. I'm sure there's a reason behind it. But yeah, all the tools expect that you already know what they are. And when you click on it, it's like, okay, it's a tool, but like, I can read a description, but I don't really know what it's like. I don't know what it's like until I buy it. But to see a little demo of where the best use case for it is, oh, yeah, the Fusion hand job, which I think they changed to handy. They actually made 2 versions because it was controversial. That's funny, though. So, yeah, anyways. Yeah, I'm trying to just kind of rethink the site based on all the questions that I get. So to explain, like, this is everything, the whole point is this is everything that I like to use, and then explain in a nutshell, you know, this is actually where TikTok was really handy. I'm essentially making TikToks for all the tools, and then I want to make slightly longer videos that are anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes that kind of talk a little bit more, like, so if you want to learn a little bit more about the tool, but you don't have to sit there through a 12-minute video on me explaining the history of anything. It's just kind of a nice, this is the tool, this is why I like it, this is where you would use it. These are some demos of it being used. That should exist. But, God, that was fun. That was fun to try and figure out how to even lay that out on the site. But yeah, it's coming along. It's nifty. Alrighty. Yeah, Stroke Doctor might have been the winner. I know they got a lot of them, though. But yeah, as far as recent additions, too, real quick. So I just have a couple simple categories: door window tools, back window tools, or if you want to see all of them. There's really not a whole lot on my site, but everything's got like a purpose. So from the glass aid, the clay bards, the cut stripe, the shank, the felt cards, the Tint Studio squeegee, plastic scraper, tri-edge, like everything is handy in one way or another. Obviously the knife, which, look at this picture. Do you like this picture of this knife? This is red dot art right here is what this is. So, yep, even the tail fin and dryer sheets, we have them on the site right now. So working on getting some other things, just a handful more little things. Some of it's just going to take some time, but it'll get there. Just got my order like 10 minutes ago. Hybrids, Tank seal kit, couple handles, and some tri-edges. Nice. That's super cool. Oh, can I point out too, real quick? This. See, so real quick on the hybrid squeegee. So I wanted to make sure that I showed the detail of the squeegee blade itself. Look at that. Look, you see that gloss? You don't get that on the Orange Crush, but you get that on that one. Boom, boom. Looks good. I like it. Why don't you use Instagram more? Instagram's too much work for what it's worth for me. Instagram apparently has switched. It used to be pretty discoverable. Now it's kind of like pay to get in front of everybody. You sell the NTBP. Oh, yeah, the thin, sharp carbon blades. Yep, we got those. I had to do a lot of digging to source these. Yep, nobody's got them. I bought out their stock. Literally. Oh, yeah, let me show you guys. Yep, these things. I had to hunt NT down, and I got as many as I could from them because they actually didn't have that many in stock because nobody orders these, apparently. And then this is that video demo, too, that I was talking about. So went over this a little bit earlier. So each one of these knives, we just outfit them with that blade. So if you just want to at least try it out. But I 100% recommend if you get those blades, pick up a holder too, or go find, like there's some plastic blade holders that don't quite work super well with these, but like it's nothing more than a less expensive plastic knife. So it's actually great with that blade. Put both of them together. It's awesome. I did the same picture too with that plastic knife. I like it. Small quarter window tools would be a good one. Yeah, I wanted to stock some Fusion turbos. Fusion turbos are really expensive, believe it or not. Actually, a lot of Fusion stuff is really expensive. So, yeah. Alrighty. But yeah, I think we're all wrapped up for today. Yep, that's it. I'm gonna go grab some more coffee. But yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out today. Let me shout out some super chats real quick. Does your website deliver to the EU? No. Man, so I'll say this. Sun Distributing. Check out Sun Distributing. They put a lot more into international shipping and everything. It's not super fun. So I did offer international shipping, but it would get stuck in customs. Orders would be so far behind, people wouldn't get updates for weeks, and then next thing you know, it's like, I don't have control over any of that. And the next thing you know, the package would show up after I've already refunded an order or canceled it entirely. Like, once I give it to the package carrier, I have no control over what happens. So they often do transfers and stuff, and they ship way more stuff than I do, so that they'll handle international. They're better at doing it than I am. So some of that stuff, I mean, they've got what I carry and a lot more. So Sun Distributing is a great company that's going to handle EU orders and stuff like that. Oh, okay. So big shout out to Mike Hobbs with 5. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. And thank you to everybody for hanging out today. These are always fun to do. Just want to let you know that I've learned a lot from your videos. One question, is there a difference between carbon tint and ceramic at the time of installation? Largely no. There will be subtle differences, but it's not because it's carbon or ceramic. It's just from one film to the next. So yeah, there definitely can be differences from somebody's carbon to somebody's ceramic, but the install process will be identical. There just might be a little difference in between, like this one is a little more tacky, this one's a little more rubbery, this one sticks a little, like those little differences. But yeah, largely it's all the same process. Alrighty, guys. Thank you for hanging out. You have a good one. Hope you guys stay busy. Bye.